Hello and welcome to The Wilderness of Creativity, a platform for creatives and aspiring entrepreneurs to share their stories of survival. I'm your host, Lucy, and I'm so excited to share this creative journey with you. Working full-time and raising a small human has caused me to lose track and wander off-piste on several occasions, but I followed the signs and here we are, surviving the wild and feeling more connected and inspired than ever before. Whether you're a seasoned adventurer or just starting out, I'm here to cheer you on as you navigate this journey. Together, we will uncover practical tips and strategies for cultivating creativity, explore different ways of prioritising our creative energy when there are people to please and deadlines to meet. And we'll also discuss how we can foster a mindset that inspires connection, innovation and play in our daily lives. Tune in every month to hear how my guests find focus in a world that never stops buzzing and discover what it really means to take the road less travelled. Subscribe now to listen to The Wilderness of Creativity and remember to like, share and leave a review to show your support. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram, so come and join in with our conversations. And that's it. Welcome to your next adventure. Welcome to the summer series of The Wilderness of Creativity. Today I am joined by Jody Woodbridge, a Reiki master teacher and founder of Spiritual Wellness. After 17 years of working in a male-dominated industry, Jody faced a shocking redundancy that left her feeling lost and uncertain. She knew that she had to take a break from the corporate world and reclaim her identity, purpose and joy. When we truly nourish our spirit, our soul, the very essence of us, that's when we light up. That's when the magic starts to happen and anything becomes possible. Have you been really busy over the last few weeks since I've spoken to you?
I try not to be too busy, Lucy. I think I might have said this before. Whenever anybody asks me that question, have you been busy? I'm like, I try not to be too busy because I don't want to like experience that feeling of having no space. You know, like when we're in the office working full time. To me, that's busy. That's like getting up, getting out of the house at sort of 8 o'clock in the morning, dropping the kids off, rushing to work. Packed day, people asking you questions and you finish at 5, go home. To me, that's busy. And I'm like, I don't want that ever again. I'm doing what I can to never be in that situation. I think we spoke last time about like what are my values, and some of them are very much about creating space. So it's like freedom, flow, flexibility, expansive. It's all about having that time to sort of like rest, recuperate, to do the things that light me up, to take care of me. And then there's work, whereas before it was like, this is work. And then there's this little bit of time left over for you. And why is it like that? It shouldn't have to be that way. And it doesn't have to be that way.
Have you got any sort of exciting things kind of lined up then that you're really looking forward to being involved in the next few weeks?
My holiday. I kind of very consciously made the effort because I have my debt recovery business, which is the money maker at the moment. So that's paying the bills and a little bit more, which is brilliant. And that's 3 days a week, the Monday, Tuesday and the Wednesday, which then frees up the Thursday and the Friday to build the Reiki business, spiritual wellness, and do what I want to do on those days. So I kind of very consciously made the effort because it's school holidays as well. So the boys are going to be off at home. And I got the holiday. I just thought, you know what? I just want to, again, go back to, I want to create that space. I don't want to have to kind of be going through the summer having to like sell and fill workshops and this. So I was just like, right, I'm just going to focus on the debt recovery work. And then around that, whatever happens, kind of happens. Yeah, I just wanted an easy summer. It's very much about kind of just doing that work. And then come September, that's when it kind of starts again. So I've got like my women's circles. We're going to go into having 2 a month from September. probably going to have a vision board workshop.
Ooh, that sounds good.
But I really enjoy it, and a few people have asked for one again. So it's probably looking about to be October now because
Okay.
September dates aren't working.
And so how many people will be able to come to that then?
Probably about 10. I mean, I could
Okay.
probably, I could take more, but it's all about creating that environment
Yeah.
where people feel comfortable to share and to, have that conversations in between, like cutting and sticking and things like that. So I feel like when you've got a smaller group, you can do that. Whereas when there's a bigger group, you kind of lose that intimacy and that kind of connection. So yeah.
Where does that come from? That drive to support other people and to help other people?
That's a good question. I guess it just comes from my own experience of being a mum, working full time, trying to fit everything in, and not at the time seeing a way out of it. And yeah, where do I fit into all this? Where are my dreams? Where are my hopes? How do I get time for me? That kind of thing. And it wasn't until the redundancy that I started to have that time and space to explore and to figure things out. And then when I finally got to a point where I was like, okay, so this is how you do it. It's like, well, there's going to be other women out there that are feeling the same way. And not just women that have gone through redundancy, but, mums and anyone that's been through an event or something in their life when they just wake up one day and they go, what do I do now? Or, who am I? Or what do I enjoy doing? Or, you're on that hamster wheel and it's like there's got to be more to life than what's going on right now.
And sometimes it takes like quite a big event to stop you.
Yeah.
And for you to kind of get off that treadmill. And I was talking to a friend the other day and she said, I've just got no idea what brings me joy anymore because she's just been working and, being mum and no sort of direction. You work with so many women, don't you, and that are feeling the same thing.
Yeah, I think life just takes over, and generally women are like the primary caregiver. We're consumed by taking care of our children, putting other people for always thinking about other people, and you just get stuck. Because it's like this needs doing, that needs doing. I think, but you just get so used to doing that you forget that you are a person as well, and you have these needs and you have these wants and desires, and there's always like a trigger. There's something that will happen that will make you stop and go, hang on a minute, what do I want? And like you say, it generally is like a redundancy or a death or a divorce or anything big to make you kind of just stop you in your tracks and
Yeah.
go and reassess. Really, I think we're just so used to putting ourselves second that it's difficult to stop and realize that you're doing that unless somebody or something makes you stop.
How do you create that environment to support clients who are coming to you wanting to process some of those really difficult experiences, either through your Reiki or through the women's circles? Like how do you support women to navigate those big life changes?
The first, I suppose, step is holding that space for a woman or for a group of women, because it's not until we come out of our own environment and we're somewhere else in I call it a safe space, I suppose you could call it, but just a space where you have that opportunity to sit, to relax. And I want to say close your eyes, because I suppose that's what we do within the women's circles, and even with Reiki as well. You're laying down, you've got your eyes closed, and it's just about being in that space and knowing that you don't have to go and take the washing out, because you're not at home. There's nobody who's going to come and disturb you. You are literally there in that moment and focusing inwards and just waiting for whatever's going to come through. All those thoughts that are going through your mind, they are going to come, they're not going to stop. But having that moment and having your eyes closed, and it allows you to I suppose, spend time with them, listen to them, figure out which one you actually want to deal with right now, because, you don't have to deal with them all in one go. If you don't have to deal with any of them if you don't want to, you don't feel comfortable with. But if something comes so strongly and you're like, no, I need to talk about that, or just try and unravel that, then that's kind of like a starting point. So it's just creating that space initially. And then, there's journal prompts which can help explore certain things. If you're within like the self-care mastery program, that's like over 5 weeks, and that really is a deep dive into what's going on within your life and trying to help you uncover and unblock. And you're talking about boundaries and people's judgments and ideas, and you got the energy healing within it as well. So yeah, it's like an onion, peeling it or unraveling.
I was going to say, it's the holistic approach, isn't it?
Yeah.
You are looking at the whole person.
Yeah.
And you're unraveling, excavating.
Yeah.
What really is at the heart of the situation and those feelings. And it's so important, isn't it, that we're open to that. What are the challenges when you're working in that way?
Being able to, I guess, help the women to draw out what is perhaps holding them back or getting in their way. Because some people, they may know what it is, but they might not want to face it. And that's kind of where I would, it's just kind of that intuitive thought that there's something that they're not saying, kind of thing. It's just trying to draw on my own experience and share my own discoveries, and hope that kind of resonates for them to then open up and go, well, actually, this is the situation. Because sometimes it can be the partners. It can be that if they want to have a bit more time for themselves, and they've got children, they know that they're going to have to ask for help. Well, who are they going to ask for help from? Their partner, their family, that kind of thing. And just asking for help can be really difficult. Or just saying what you want, because we're not used to saying what we want and what we need. So it's that getting over that barrier of being able to communicate to your loved one as to what you need. And I suppose with that there's a bit of fear, because it's like, well, what are they going to say when I say I want this, I need that, kind of thing. So yeah, it can be quite complex, really. And I do always say as well, especially within that self-care mastery, that this is a starting point. Things may come up that feel uncomfortable. If you're really struggling with anything, then I would always recommend seeking professional help, such as talking therapies, because some things can run quite deep. I'm not a trained counsellor, but I am there to support and offer my own experiences to hopefully help you kind of uncover. So it's a starting point for you.
So spiritual wellness is multifaceted, isn't it? So you offer, you've mentioned before, the self-care mastery course, which is a 5-week program that you lead a client through. You also offer one-to-one Reiki sessions, don't you, and group sessions. So for those people who don't necessarily know what Reiki is or have never been to a Reiki session, what is Reiki and what is energy healing?
The direct translation is spiritual energy. Some people say universal energy. It's got lots of different translations, but effectively what we're doing is, we are, as a Reiki practitioner, we are taught how to channel the universal energy initially to heal ourselves, because it all starts with yourself, with the one. We say that only when we healed ourselves can we then hold space for others and help them to heal as well. So the idea is, as Reiki practitioners, is we channel that universal energy, focus our intent to receive the healing that we need at this moment in time for our highest and greatest good. And then basically it's like meditation. We're sat with our eyes closed and focusing on that, imagining the light coming down, the energy drawing in, using the breath to draw the energy in as well, deep into like our belly, igniting that spark, like a power center. And we trust that we're receiving the healing that we need. We can't guide the energy. We can't tell it where to heal, because we don't actually know what needs healing. And it's the same when we're working with a client as well. We hold that space and we channel the universal energy into ourselves, but also imagining it going into the client as well. And again, asking them to receive the healing that they need at this moment in time for the highest and greatest good. A client could come and they say, I've got a headache. And it's like, okay. But then if we say, well, okay, we want the Reiki to heal the headache, it's like, well, why have they got a headache? Where has that come from? What's going on in their life that has created that headache? There's always a root cause to something. And many believe that a lot of illnesses begin in the mind. When I say that, I'm saying that because of worry, stress, overwhelm, anxiety, that kind of thing. And it's when all that stress and everything gets to us, that's when we start to physically manifest things like aches and pains, like headaches, and things can get worse from there. It's all about having that space and just trusting that the energy will do what it needs to do for that person.
I mean, the most common side effect, I think, of Reiki, as you said, is this deep relaxation and rest.
Yeah.
Is it always hands-on? Because I think you can do both, can't you? You can have hands-on and also just be above the body.
Yeah, you don't have to be. Yeah, you can be hands-on, you can be above the body. You can do it online, so we could do it now, and you would still receive the Reiki, the energy, the healing. So yeah, generally if it's an in-person one, so I'll start on the shoulders and then on the head, and then I just intuitively work the body and see what happens really. But yeah, the difference from when somebody comes in, the way that they look, their kind of aura, I suppose, just their essence. You can see when somebody comes in that they're feeling a bit frazzled, or there's something not, there's something that they need support with.
How do I look? Does my energy need to be shifted?
No, you don't look too frazzled.
That's a good sign. It's because I broke up on Friday, so I've had a couple of days of lying in bed in a big heap.
Aww.
Yeah, well, we had my mum's 70th birthday on Saturday, so there was a little bit of organising around that. But my other half will always have a bit of a joke with me, because once I finish for a half term or for the summer, I just collapse into a big heap. In fact, I saw something the other day, I mean, I'm paraphrasing from what I can remember, but it said something like, if you don't take a rest, your body will tell you when you need to take a rest. And that really sort of stuck with me.
What you just said there, it just reminded me of when I was, again, back in the office. It was, you work, it's just like constantly boom, 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 boom. Then the holiday comes and then you relax and you're just absolutely exhausted. And sometimes I used to get ill on the lead up because my body knew that the rest was coming. And it was like, because I've been on all the time, and it's like, right, we're gonna starting to slow down a little bit now. So now I'm gonna bring in all the like, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a cold before you go, just to show you that you are run down and that you can't carry on like this kind of thing.
What did you do before you sort of took a step back and then sort of redirected yourself into the work that you're doing now?
I was a team manager within the debt recovery department for an accident management company. So I've been there for 17 years. It was a family business initially, and yeah, I kind of worked up through the different levels. And then at one point I took a step down because it got taken over by this investment company, and it was just all a bit too much. And there was other things going on at home as well, and I was just like, I can't. I can't cope with all of this. Yeah, then I was again just in the debt recovery department, and eventually there was a restructure, so I applied for a different role. I didn't get that role, and there was no positions back in my old team. So I was like, what happens now? Nobody knew because nobody had planned for this. So I was like, right, okay. Then the redundancy came. I pretty much asked for it, to be honest, because they offered a few different jobs to me, and I was like, you're having a laugh. This is below what I was doing before. That's not comparable. I was like, I want this redundancy. And based on how I've been treated over the last 3 years, I also want this to be taken into account as well, which it did.
Was this against the backdrop of COVID, or was this before COVID?
This was just before COVID. So this was September 2019, and the final redundancy went through in the October 2019. So yeah, but then I was So I got the redundancy, I got the settlement package, which would tide me over for a good sort of 10, 11 months. And you'd think I'd be happy with that, but I wasn't. I was actually scared because I thought this money's not going to last forever. So I need to get another job. What am I going to do? So I took this part-time job in a stamp auction house. And within sort of a month, a couple of months, I had a breakdown, first of all, which I had to go to therapy. Well, I didn't have to go, but I chose to go into therapy for.
I love the fact
Because it
that
was
you said
just
that and then just laughed. This is what we do, isn't it? We're just like, yeah, I'm kind of on the edge, but
Yeah, it was, I pushed through. I think the scariest thing was I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel sad. I was just numb, and I was just going through the days basically. And it eventually hit me. And then, so I went into therapy to sort of work through everything that had happened, and that really helped. During that, I realized how much I do have to offer and how many skills and like how much knowledge I've got. And, the admin job was great because that kind of made me realize that. And then by the time I realized that, COVID hit and we went into lockdown. And then a couple of months later, I was made redundant again. But that was okay that time because I was furloughed anyway. I was at home with the boys. And all during this time, I was sort of trying to discover who I was, trying to rediscover who I was, what I wanted, what brought me joy, what I wanted to do with my life, that kind of thing. So I was doing lots of research in the background, and that's how I came across like the spiritual world, so to speak. Working with the moon cycles, journaling, oracle cards, tarot cards.
You hadn't tapped into that before, had you?
No, I hadn't. No. So I think what it also opened up for me at the time, probably only just realised now actually, I started doing a writing course for the first time in such a long time. I was writing, and I set up a blog. It's not running now, but at the time I set up a blog, set up a website for it, and I was just writing and uploading just general day-to-day stuff of like my experiences of being a mom and all different kind of things. And it was just a really, really great outlet, because when I was probably 5 or 6, I've got memories of mum had a typewriter, and I got memories of myself like writing out stories on a typewriter. So it just kind of like, again, going back to that inner child and nurturing her and realizing, well, what did she want to be? What did she want to do? What did she enjoy? I was kind of drawing on that. And I started writing again. So that felt really good to kind of, creative, expanding my mind and just being free with words, because I felt like I hadn't been within the business I was in previously, and just expressing myself for who I really was. I did some drawing as well at the time, just because I used to love drawing. Just really playing with all that kind of fun, creative stuff that I did when I was little, and that we don't have the opportunity to do as adults, because it's all very much like you need to go and get a job, you need to work 9 till 5, you need to be going behind a computer. There's no time for being creative. This doesn't earn you money, that kind of thing.
That messaging is so strong.
Oh, honestly,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Through the education system, I remember going to my career meetings and saying, oh, I want to work creatively. I want to maybe do something with dance or drama, and being told, it's not going to make you any money, which is just wrong, actually, because I did follow that path, and I'm doing okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
This idea that creativity is a luxury, but it is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. And I think, I've got 2 boys. One of them very academic, finds it really easy, and the other one, he's very creative, very hands-on, building, moving around all the time, active, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But the educational system is not set up for him, which is very sad, because he's very street smart, and he is clever, and he can do anything he wants to do, but he has to be really passionate about it,
Yeah.
and when he is, he will do it. So it's, and when he puts his mind to it, he can create and build and draw, and the imagination is just incredible, but we're not rewarding our kids for it, and it's like, why? It's it's very sad.
You just don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know what's going to come around the corner, and there's no amount of exams that we can sit that's going to help deal with those very difficult, complex situations.
Yeah, definitely. I was born in 1980, so I'm still very much I'm kind of on the cusp of, I'm kind of like treading two worlds, I suppose, of like, you just need to get on with it, you just need to do it, that's what we were told to do, and I've turned out all right, kind of thing. She says, after spending X amount of months in therapy. But but then there's the other side of me that's like, well, there is understanding and caring and compassion, and just not being so like, just get on with it. But it's hard, because it's like, well, if I'm too much that way, are they then going to be too kind of like free and easy and not worrying about things? But then if I'm too harsh, they'll be, what are they going to be, this, they're going to be that, and then ending it, what kind of messages am I sending? And you just don't know until they're older, as to, you just hope that you've done the best that you can, and you've supported them. There's no rule book for being a parent. No guidebook.
I really wish there was.
Yeah.
Talking of books, you have written quite a few, haven't you? Is it 3 now you've written?
Yeah, it is, yeah. So the first one I did not long after I trained in Reiki, level 1, I think it was. And it's an ebook. It's available on Amazon, and it's called So What Even Is Reiki? And it's just a beginner's guide to understanding the magic of Reiki. It's just literally is a beginner's guide. So it's explaining what Reiki is, where it comes from, what you might feel, and all the kind of like basics for anybody that's never heard of it and is just a bit curious and wants to know a little bit more. And then the second one that I did was a book collaboration with the Unbound Press, and that was called Soul Shine, and that's Excavate Your Light and Reclaim Your Soul's Purpose. When I received an email from the Unbound Press, it was just a general newsletter saying, we're doing this book collaboration, this is the idea, these are the kind of stories we're looking for, let us know if you're interested. And I was like, wow, okay, a time when I've had my light dulled. Yes, okay, I definitely have a few of them. So I've written about my redundancy, and how my light was completely dulled, and then how I kind of, after that, excavated it and discovered my joy. And I also kind of wrote about a couple of instances when I was younger, as to people commenting, and that makes you kind of second guess yourself, and then you kind of like draw inwards a little bit and hide that little bit of who you were. And if that keeps happening over the years, you soon become of a different version of you. So yeah, that was a really cathartic process, going through that. Lots of different drafts, different things going into it. But yeah, that was, and the other stories are beautiful as well. There's 26 of us all together in there, different stories, different backgrounds, different countries. It's really, really lovely.
Did you get to meet any of the other writers?
Yeah, so we met online. So every sort of couple of months we'd come together online and talk about how we're getting on with our writing, if anybody's got any sort of challenges. Nicola would kind of lead with like a meditation, just to ground us and just to kind of keep that momentum of the book alive, really. So really great process to go through, and I'm glad I did it.
Are you still in touch with any of the writers?
Mainly just on Instagram. We follow each other. It's nice. And then the third one is one that I wrote myself. So it's called Original Japanese Reiki, a 21-day journey. And this book is to support any new students that come to learn Reiki, but also it's for any Reiki practitioners who have trained in Reiki and they've lost their way with it a little bit, and they just want to get back into the practice. And maybe they need a bit of support as to how to get back into the practice, whether it's that don't know where to start, or they've forgotten some of the practices. The book just helps you to do that. And it's called a 21-day journey, because over 21 days you've got a journal prompt to answer, to kind of help you kind of explore the Reiki practices on a deeper level. And also it's good, if you are a Reiki teacher as well, and you want to support your students, then, you can buy the book and use it as a guide and give it to your students as well. So it's kind of like a three-pronged attack.
Well, I mean, we need everything. We need everything to help us when we're in those difficult situations, when we're feeling stuck, not too sure which direction we're going to take. Or if, like you say, if we're supporting other people, try and reach their full potential. We all need a little bit of help, don't we?
Yeah, with my teacher, when I learnt with her, she offered support groups. We could message her and go and practice, and you could receive regular empowerments. And there was always that teacher-student connection, which I think when you're learning something new, you need that. And it's also lovely to have it as well, because Reiki can uncover quite a lot of stuff, and it's like, why am I feeling this way? This has come up. Is this normal? Oh, I'm experiencing this when I'm practicing Reiki. Is that normal? And if you've not got anybody to talk to about that or to ask that question about, you can get lost and you can think, oh, I don't really want to feel that way again, so I'm going to not bother practicing.
There's a lot of misconceptions as well, I think, around sort of alternative therapies. What's your sort of take on that?
You've got to be a little bit open and curious, haven't you, to want to explore it. I guess it's just about what's mainstream, isn't it? A few years ago, cold water baths and breathing, nobody really heard of it until Wim Hof came along, and he's, done a program on telly with loads of celebrities, and now all of a sudden everybody wants to get into cold ice water and breathe in. Yeah, I guess just a shame that we haven't got a Reiki celebrity that can come on and do a TV program with loads of celebrities and go, look how amazing this is. And because it is transformative, but I think until you've experienced it, you don't really understand it.
The sessions that I've been to, and the teachers that I've worked with over the years, things do shift. And, if that feeling is a good feeling and it moves you into a new direction or it changes your mindset, I mean, that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah. My latest Reiki student, she's been brilliant. She's been really committed, and, the changes that she's experiencing are incredible. And, you can see her, she's a lot more active on social media, and the pictures that she takes of herself, she just looks radiant. It's not just about channeling the energy. Within the system, there are 5 elements, and it's only when all the 5 elements are practiced together is when the change happens.
Can you explain that a little bit more for me?
Yeah, so the 5 elements. So we've got the precepts, which are the foundation of the Reiki practice, and that they are just for today. Do not anger, do not worry, be humble, be true to your way and your being, and be compassionate to yourself and others. So, we start with just for today because it's all about very much being mindful, being present, and just being in that moment. And it's just understanding what each precept means, feeling into it, and understanding the meaning. So I'll take, say, for example, do not worry. So we say do not worry. It's easy to say, oh, don't worry. What we're really saying is, it's like, yesterday we worry about so much, worry about things that happened yesterday, things that may happen in the future, and we need to spend more time on just being present in the moment and appreciating everything that we have right now. So it's all about practicing mindfulness, grounding ourselves and focusing the mind on now, so we're not got all those worrying negative thoughts coming in. So yeah, we've got that. Then we've got the energy practices, which it's all about drawing the energy in and being able to self-heal. Then we've got the empowerments, which some people may know as an attunement. So an empowerment is when your Reiki teacher will empower you with the energy. Think of it as being basically plugged in to the universal energy and being topped up. That's how I like to think about it anyway. So it's always good to get regular empowerments from your teacher. And then you have mindfulness. So again, that kind of like reconnects with the precept. So it's all very much focusing on being present. And then the 5th element is the symbols, which come in at Reiki 2 and 3. So yeah, symbols, you can draw them out, or you can chant them, or you can visualize them. So the symbols within like Reiki 2 are like the earth energy, heavenly energy, and like the oneness connection symbol. So it's kind of it's when you're practicing all those elements, when you understand all those elements, that's kind of like the true essence of Reiki. And that's when when the changes will slowly start to happen. Life just feels that little bit easier.
I mean, I suppose, the depth of that knowledge and that understanding, you're not really going to get that in one day, are you? It is a practice.
Yeah, definitely. And I think back to when I did my Reiki one, even probably all of them really, you have that 2 days. It's because it's a mix of theory and practice. There's a lot of practice. But yeah, you don't understand it after 2 days. You can't possibly understand the precepts and what the energy's doing and what the symbols mean. And, even after I got my Reiki master teacher, I was like, okay, cool. I can teach people now. I was like, I'm not ready to teach. I've literally just got my teacher, but I don't feel ready. I don't feel like I fully understand everything yet. So it was another year until I felt ready to kind of, go, right, okay, I feel like I can do this now. I feel like I've practiced, I've experienced things, and I feel like I want to teach somebody and talk through with them kind of, so yeah, it's a long process.
If people are looking to look for a class or look for a Reiki session, you want to be seeking, people who have spent, a good amount of time practicing the Reiki system and kind of really understand it. I mean, a look around, I guess, would be the advice, wouldn't it be?
Don't be kind of sucked in by how long somebody's been a Reiki teacher for or a Reiki master for. I would always have a conversation with them, to understand what they do in their life, how they're bringing Reiki into their life, what their understanding of, how much can they tell you about the system and their own experiences. And
Because you lead online sessions, don't you?
yeah, so do online and do in person as well. Yeah.
I mean, I think the women's circle sessions that you lead are maybe a really good introduction to you and to your work, aren't they? So
Yes. So September, there's 2 in September, and then there'll be 2 sort of running every month. But yeah, they are a good introduction because one, you get to meet me, and then you get to experience what it's like working with me. But also we do some Reiki practice. You don't have to have been trained in Reiki to do the practices. It's very meditation based anyway. But yeah, it is, so you do get to experience that, and then you can obviously ask questions and if you wanted to.
so where can people find you?
Sure. So I'm on Facebook, Jody Woodbridge, and I'm on Instagram. You can search Jody Woodbridge as well on that. That's fine. And then I got my website, which is spiritualwellness.uk.
Brilliant. No, that's great. So what have you got planned for the rest of this week? Have you got anything coming up this week, or are you just preparing for your holiday?
Yeah, definitely. I just feel like, I work, I don't want to say hard, but the days that I do, I do work hard. But everything that I do is to create the life of, to give those pockets of the freedom and to do things like we're doing now, and to be able to go, well, actually, July, August, I'm going to take the foot off the pedal and just focus on what I need to in terms of money making stuff and have that breather kind of thing. So yeah, and then in the autumn, see what happens. And I think if we don't have that space as well, where are the opportunities for things to drop in? What are we telling the universe? We've got no room, so you're not going to get anything.
Hello, Lucy here. I'd love for you to help spread the word. There are several ways that you can do this. 1, you can subscribe to the podcast on your favourite platform, which will ensure that you never miss an episode. 2, you could share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues who might be inspired by the stories that we're sharing. 3, your reviews and ratings are incredibly important. They help new listeners discover the podcast and they give me valuable feedback on how I can improve. So, please take a moment to leave a review. Your support is what makes this possible. I'm on a mission to inspire, motivate and empower fellow creatives to take the road less travelled, and I am so grateful to have you along on this journey with me. Until next time, stay wild.